McLaughlin, her first serious 400 hurdles of the year, whereas Dalila Muhammad, the Olympic champion in 5, is well into her racing season with big wins in Doha, Osaka and Rome. Well, they move away smoothly, and the first hurdle hit pretty strongly there by Sydney McLaughlin in lane 4, down the back straight. Looking very, very smooth indeed is Dalila Muhammad there in 5 in the all blue. As they get to 200 metres, Muhammad probably leading. Sydney McLaughlin in 4 has got a lot of work to do in the second half. Indeed, in lane 3, Corey Carter, the world champion, is well up in the white vest on Sydney McLaughlin, who clears that barrier smoothly. She's got some running to do yet if she wants to catch Muhammad. Into the straight then, Dalila Muhammad by 3 metres. Sydney McLaughlin, much better flat speed than Dalila Muhammad, but she hasn't got the beating over here today unless her running off the final barrier is special, and it might be. She's going to get there. Yes, she does, by 1 metre of the line. Sydney McLaughlin. Wow. The big question of the night over the 1-lap barriers for ladies is answered. This young lady, 54.16, judged it to perfection. She came very, very late indeed. Dalila Muhammad, to be fair, was running blind for all intents and purposes, being in the lane outside the youngster. But boy, Steve, off the final barrier, did McLaughlin have to work for this?
Yeah, I think 2 stories there, Tim, you're right. McLaughlin hits the first hurdle, and I think that put a little bit out of her stride down the back straight. She was watching Muhammad go away, but I think Muhammad got a little bit carried away there as well. She would have expected to run sub 54 here today. I think that's a great rundown.
Rammed with athletes in very good form. That's what's significant about this one. So we'll describe more of those athletes for you now that they are underway. Andy Butchart is in this one too. The Rio Olympic finalist, was 8th at the last Olympic Games, and then ran his second fastest time ever last week in Rome when he finished down the field admittedly, but in a very quick 13:09. So away they go. Robinson has got to judge this right. We need to be moving at around 60-second per lap pace. The second pacemaker, Kangogo, slotted in there behind him in the orange vest. And they do go through indeed in around 30 seconds. Cheptegei moving up into 3rd place. The Ugandan, Steve, I sense, will be a real danger here to the Ethiopians if they don't pay him close attention, because I think he's got something to prove, really, on top of what has been a wonderful winter.
Yeah, I just wonder if everything's been okay in his camp. He was supposed to run in Rome, and he didn't run there. And then it's good to see him here. It was a good 5,000 metres in Rome, a cracking race. A few of these guys were in that, Butchart included. I was just watching, because I know you were watching that meeting in Hengelo on Sunday when Nicholas Kameli ran so well, under 13 minutes. He started his watch on the start line, and I think that's going to be important. You talked about Robinson here. It's who commits early to the pace, because at 3,000 metres, you can't let anyone go. You've got to get involved. Barrega now moving up, Kameli's moving up. So they're on it here. They want to see if they can go with this good pace. Robinson is looking round. He's doing a good job, keeping it solid. A 61 lap, perhaps a tad slow there. They want to keep it moving. But yeah, we should be in for a cracker here.
Yeah, the first lap was 61.1. That lap, 61.8. It's a little bit on the slow side.
That was Demireva, who's been staying in this high jump. The bar now has moved up to 196. That was Demireva going clear a little earlier at 194, having taken 3 attempts, Demireva, to get over 191. So we had 6 move up to 194, including Lazitskene. Of course, had so many competitions unbeaten. I think it was in Rabat, wasn't it, where she lost last year. Anyway, Lazitskene looking serene as ever. Few gone out early. Morgan Lake, Mahuchik, who won in Doha, the very talented youngster, already out.
Well, they've just gone through 1K in 2:33.8. I thought it was going too slow, and it is. Hasn't been a great pace-making job by Robinson, I'm afraid. He's just stepped off the track and now is sitting down on his haunches like that was a big effort for him. I'm just wondering if he was up to the task, with all due respect. Kangogo now leads, and it's his job to get this slightly more back on track. They did want a conservative first half, I understand, and then they knew it would wind up in the last couple of laps. But Cheptegei in second, the world cross-country champion. Barrega in second place. That world junior record in Brussels last year was quite astonishing, 12:43 for 5,000. That transfers well to this distance, and his personal best only 7:37. He's probably worth 6 or 8 seconds quicker than that. So Cheptegei, Barrega in second and third, and in the white vest, looks like he's chomping at the bit, is Kimeli, who gained so much confidence from his run in Shanghai. He ran well there, did Kimeli. Only 20 years old, fresh from a 5,000 personal best in Hengelo on Sunday too, where he ran 12:57. I just wonder if that is in his legs a little bit. But they're 2 or 3 abreast there, Steve, and I just think they do need to start stretching it out now. Stewie McSweyn there, the tall figure in about 7th, looking for that Australian record of Buster Mottram, but I think it's been too slow.
It's in range, you know. If you think about Ingebrigtsen wants to run 7:40, you go through in 3:51, 3:52, you can pick up in the second half, assume you're going to run a fast last lap. So they're in range. McSweyn's got work to do. Ingebrigtsen is right in there. Butchart, they're in the fact that they are in this race still until maybe now, because Cheptegei finally starts to unleash a little bit of pace. Kimeli and the others have looked pretty solid. Kimeli looking around, but Barrega is keeping quiet at the moment. They cannot let Cheptegei get too far away at this point.
3 laps to go then in this men's 3,000 metres. Cheptegei has accelerated markedly there as he eased past the second pacemaker Kangogo, almost impatiently, almost pushing aside the little Kenyan before the 2,000 metre point. As they head into the back straight now for the 2.5 laps to go. And easing into second place, Kimeli. Kiplangat there in third place on the inside. Barrega on the outside with that almost Mohican haircut in the dark strip in third place now. Stewie McSweyn of Australia in 6th place, just clinging onto the back of this little group which is separating and easing away. I think it's Ben True who's leading the chasing pack, just as he had to do in Rome a week ago. He led the second pack in Rome for many laps. But with just over 2 laps to run, single file, and Cheptegei is motoring.
Yeah, but they're back onto him, Tim. You know, he just out there, that little window, they realise Balu can kick as well. So he's got some fast men just sitting on him. Kimeli, Barrega, Balu, McSweyn, that gap's growing. Crowd are getting excited because Ingebrigtsen is still on schedule if he can pick it up on the last 2 laps for his national record. But at the front, this is really burning up. Cheptegei trying to do what he has to do. He's strong, he's very strong, but he knows the danger of the pace of the likes of Barrega, and I don't think he's going to be able to break them. In fact, Barrega looks so comfortable, 600 to go.
He does look comfortable, doesn't he, Barrega? Has stated openly that he wants his next 5,000 metres to be a world record. Well, he's going to have to go not much slower than this during a 5,000 to get that world 5,000 record of Kennedy Sebekele, which is a long old record now. The 3,000 has only been held here once since Haile Gebrselassie set the meeting record in 1998 at 7:27. I don't think we're going to see that. But Cheptegei, looking up at the big screen, is working hard for this. McSweyn has lost ground now. Henrik Ingebrigtsen moving through in 6th place. 1 lap to go, 6:36 the bell. Not as quick as we expected. Doesn't matter. Great race. Building up now with 300 metres to run. It's Cheptegei from Barrega, who we know has great finishing speed. Kimeli in 3rd, Bailey in 4th, McSweyn and Ingebrigtsen, Henrik Ingebrigtsen, the elder of the 3 brothers, in 5th and 6th.
Ingebrigtsen has got the crowd on their feet, but they're also watching this at the front, and Barrega starts to unleash his sprint, but Ingebrigtsen is heading for a Norwegian record and maybe even a top 3 finish, certainly top 4. Who's going to win this though? Barrega's now got it.
150 metres to run, and Barrega 2 metres clear. Cheptegei feared this. He's got great strength, we know that, a good 10,000 metre runner, but doesn't have the finishing speed of Barrega, who now starts pumping hard, and with every stride is easing away from the Ugandan. Is Barrega going to win this from Cheptegei, coming through strongly for 3rd place. Brilliant run that too, as well, from Kimeli and Ingebrigtsen there. 7:37 smashes the Norwegian record by some 3 seconds there. Stewie McSweyn, well, he didn't get that Oz record of Buster Mottram. from all those years ago, but it's a very solid run from Stewie McSweyn. I don't think the early pacemaking was great. It didn't really get them on track. It was nowhere near. Indeed, it was outside 61 seconds per lap. But Barega there has enjoyed that. His winning time, 7:32.2. A lot of the hard running in the last couple of laps, Steve. The second half, much quicker than the first.
Yeah, I think that was pretty well constructed in the sense that it was slower, but it wasn't super slow. I mean, you know, they're not going to run sub 7:30, I don't think, at this point. I think 7:32 is a cracking performance. Another great race from Barega. Cheptegei did everything that he could do. He's not going to run the finish out of Barega. He just has that ability to accelerate. But goodness me, did this place come alive as Ingebrigtsen and the... So Clemens in 3, McNeil in 4, Sharika Nelvis in 5. False start from McNeil. Clearly. Now, she's having problems. I don't know if you remember that performance in Doha, Tim. It was a really odd run from her. It wasn't a good start. She never really got going. I just wonder whether she's been having problems with her starting. But there you can see lane 4. That's a clear false start.
Yeah, that's a real shame. I'm afraid she's gone. She's not been running badly, Steve. I mean, I know she's a 12.2 athlete, indeed one of the quickest in history, but watch fourth and right there. Massive wobble in the blocks. And that's strange for an athlete of her experience. She's been running 12.7s in Nanjing and then in Hengelo on Sunday. Although she was beaten in Hengelo, but I'm sure she will be gone. Yeah.
Oh,
lane 4.
She's shaking her head. I don't really know why, Tim. That's about as blatant a false start as you're going to see. So she should accept it. She looked off balance. You know, she almost was toppling into a start there. I'm not sure why she needs to go and have a look. So we lose the one of the stars of this event. The Olympic champion is gone. So Christina Clemens in lane 3, Sharika Nelvis in 5, with the European champion Elvira Herman in 6 will be the favourites now. Vessa will be hoping to try and produce something. Her early season form hasn't really shown that. Neither has Roleda. Second in Stockholm, Nelvis third in Doha. Can she get the win now? Clemens as she is now, must get that right. The athlete in form though, I suspect. Lane 3, Clemens, 4 empty now, Nelvis in 5. Clemens just a little wobble at the start as well. Sharika Nelvis got the better start there, but Clemens is right with her. Just the two of them almost stride for stride here. Nothing to choose between them. Clemens maybe just having a slight advantage and may just get this on the line. Clemens wins, 12.67. Hardly anything to choose between the two of them, all the way down there. Nelvis definitely got slightly the better start, but once they were into their running, it was really only hurdle 9 maybe where Clemens just started to ease ahead and won it in the end by 0.05 of a second.
Well, Clemens there third to right, Steve, very, very quick between the barriers. She's small, she doesn't have to change adjustment and shape very much at all for the barriers. The legs are quick in between. She ran superbly to win in Turku a couple of nights ago, 12.58, and she's in that sort of groove, that technical groove, where it's flowing, it's coming almost effortlessly. And to beat an athlete to Sharika Nelvis fairly handsomely, 12.69 to 12.74, that's a reasonable sized margin for sprint hurdlers. Very, very impressive indeed. And Nelvis worked hard. She didn't do much wrong, just not quite as quick between the barriers. 50 metres indoors. So Xi in 1, CJ Uja of Britain in 2, Mike Rogers in 3, Coleman goes in 4, Prescott 5, Tortu 6, Koike 7, Ramdan 8. Good start there from Coleman, very quickly away, and he got good daylight between himself and Prescott there, the tallest, who's struggling nearest us. And this is Coleman going away with this one, going well on the far side. G takes second, but he's 2 metres clear at 9.85. It's another world lead on this track, which is not renowned for super fast sprint times. The meeting record is 9.79, but that was by a certain Mr. Bolt back in 2012. That 9.85.
takes the top spot from the spot that he shared with Noah Lyles with 9.86, and Divine Oduduru of Nigeria, who won the NCAA title a few days ago in Austin, Texas. Steve, Coleman there, I thought he almost stumbled coming out of the blocks, so powerful was his start, but he held it together really well.
Brilliant performance, great start. Watch this here, just powerful. Look how he drives out. Now Prescott's not it wasn't an awful start from him. Prescott pulled up about 60 metres into the race, I think with cramp. I've been watching him afterwards, I think it was only cramp. But it was the effort he was trying to make to get back on terms with Coleman, which he was never going to do because he was away and gone. There's been a lot of talk about Coleman and Lyles. It looks like Lyles is not going to run the 100 metres in Doha, the World Champs, which will be a shame. But we will see the two of them racing each other again, I hope. Lyles, of course.
He can zero the USA in 4. TJ Holmes, who was 5th at the World Championships in London, he goes in 5. McMaster, the Commonwealth champion, in 6. Varholm in 7. Second from the outside. And Takatoshi Abe of Japan right out in lane 8. So a roar erupts around the arena as Varholm gets into his running, and straight away, there he is, left of picture, blasts the first 100 metres. Nice and steady now, also going strong inside him. It's McMaster. Look at McMaster there in the blue. He's really taken this to Varholm. Varholm won't know about it, the Norwegian. They get to halfway, and McMaster might even be slightly up on Varholm. And Varholm also always starts aggressively and fast. He's got a race in his hands as they come to 300 metres. More of a race than might have been expected, but he's strong, is Varholm, and McMaster now is beginning to wilt. Varholm stays strong, down the straight, one barrier to go. Will he clear this one well? Yes, he will, and there's the contrast. Look at the gap opening up, bar coming through, watch the clock, 7:47.33, just outside the world best, but it is a new meeting record and a national record though for Karsten Varholm. Well, do you know what? Although he wasn't in his immediate range of vision, Steve, the field of vision, I think that McMaster, he probably sensed McMaster there on the crown of the second bend, Karsten Varholm, and that urged him on to a very, very fast time indeed. His lifetime best before tonight, 47.64 in Berlin last year, 47.33 here tonight. It puts him 13th fastest in history. It is a national record, it's an area record, and that is a meeting record as well. Boy, oh boy, that is a new European record for Karsten Varholm, displacing Stefan Diakana from Lausanne in 1995. Was it really 24 years ago that the Frenchman, himself a world champion, ran 47.37? That was special.
Well, he invited McMaster into his world and spat him out the other end, I think. You know, he attacked it hard, and you're right, McMaster went with him, and through 200, you thought, okay, race on here, because we know Varholm goes out hard and sometimes maybe doesn't always carry it through. However, he got better here. It's the first time I've seen Varholm almost get stronger through the race. And when he came off that last barrier, I was watching the clock because I thought maybe he can get close to 47 seconds here, but 47.33 nonetheless. Wait in Hengelo for the 100 metres at the weekend. World champion, of course, over 200. Skippers gets a cracking start, actually well up on Thomas straight away, and Skippers running the others down. Prandini running a very good bend inside Skippers as well, and it's Prandini who might just about have the lead here, but Skippers forging on, and now that metre, half a metre, turns into a couple of metres, and she starts to go away. Manuel going well on the outside, but it's going to be definitely Skippers here. Watch the clock, 22.57. Emmanuel takes second spot, the others just fading in the latter stages. Well, it's a good win into a slight headwind. Things have just changed a little in the last hour or so. It is a season's best for Skippers. She's coming on with each race, she's improving. And I know Tim keeps making the point about building your season well towards the World Championships later in the year. And Skippers might say, hey, you know, I'm just gradually getting better. There's a long way to go. I don't need to be running super fast yet, but this is an important win.
I do keep mentioning it, Steve, because it's the sort of overarching warning to all the athletes who are going so great. You want to praise them, but you also want to put that sort of shot across their bows. And Skippers, I think, is getting it right, because she's just beginning to look more and more like her old self. You know, she looked very good on Sunday in Hengelo, where she won pretty comfortably in 11.06. She looks good here tonight. There was a slight threat from Prandini inside her coming off.
A brilliant 7.36 in the 3,000. So this is the dream mile. No Norwegian has ever won this. There are two in this, Philip and Jon Jakob. Pace has not been asked to be too quick, to be fair, and I think that's to play into their hands, although there's not really anyone in this field who I think could run well under 350. But one thing the two younger Ingebrigtsens might be thinking of is that the national record is still held by Henrik at 350.7, and the pace that they asked for was about 155 at the half. It looks a little quick early on here. Williams, the Australian who's in second place, might just have to check back a little bit as Abda goes off way too fast through this first 300 metres, and at least he's looking around to see where the others are. So Vote and that looks like Suleiman and Murphy have all got involved early, and the crowd already rise to their feet for the climax of this great meeting here in Oslo as they go through the first 400 metres. Of course, it's 440 yards in a rather swift 54.75.
Well, considering they wanted about 57, Steve, that is very quick indeed. It's too quick. He's a 145-800 guy, Abda. That's why he's got so much running in his legs. Wote in third place is the man who's got to try and retain contract with Abda and Williams, the pacemakers. And then, of course, fastest man in the field on paper, Suleiman, at 347 miler, is in fourth place. I wonder what his form is like. I'll be interested to see how Murphy goes here, Steve, the American who is growing in stature as a 1,500-metre runner, an Olympic medalist at 800 in Rio.
I think Murphy might have gone off a little bit quick because of his 800-metre pace. I like the pace that both the Ingebrigtsens went off at, particularly Jakob looks comfortable. Behind him, Philip just getting a little bit closer, and you can see how the field are already starting to bunch up here. So a sensible running by the two Norwegians. They know they only need to be in contact as they approach the bell. So we've got 2 laps to go, and it's slowing right up at the front. Williams, it was way too fast early on, so they've gone through in a rather more respectable 153 at the front, but the Ingebrigtsens just inside 155, perfect.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think that main pack there to the left of picture are just about spot on. 153.04 at the front. They probably went through in about 154, in fact, which is just right if you're aiming to run around 350 or quicker. Jakob, the European champion, moving up down to third place, is playing out absolutely perfectly. The crowd packed Bislett Stadium, roaring their two Ingebrigtsens on.
They're cruising at the moment. Wote at the front. We've got Quebec is close with Suleiman and Bergen on the inside. Bergen just a little boxed at the moment. Suleiman's just making him stay there. Quebec keeping an eye on Jakob and Philip, who've got themselves in a perfect place, and Bergen manages to squeeze through on the inside at the bell. So it's Jakob with Quebec moving up on the outside, and right at the front, Suleiman tries to wrest control away from the young Norwegian. He's just 18, don't forget. Philip looks as though he's spent a little bit, but Jakob is right there. So, Suleiman, Ingebrigtsen, Gregorek moving up around the outside, Clayton Murphy still not too far away, and Quebec looks the danger at the moment and kicks hard, and Jakob will need to respond here. It's Quebec out in front. Suleiman starting to look a little bit tired. Has Jakob Ingebrigtsen got anything to give in the home straight? He can't let Quebec get too far away. It's 2 meters, going to 3 meters. Lewandowski right there as well, the 800-meter specialist, will finish quickly. Jakob Ingebrigtsen trying his best, and here comes Lewandowski. He's finishing late. Quebec has still got it at the moment. Lewandowski is going to get there. Lewandowski wins it. Well, he came from yesterday. He was miles back at 200 meters. And round the top bend, Lewandowski passed one, then another, then another, then another. And you know he raced on Tuesday night in 800 meters in Bydgoszcz. I think finished 5th in around 146, something like that. Not that impressive. in front of his home fans. But maybe that was just the right warm-up. And going back, Tim, to how that race panned out, I didn't think anyone here could run it close to 350 or under 350. So why go through in 153? And Lewandowski, I think, went through in 155 and a half or thereabouts. Timed it perfectly.
Well, no, you're right, Steve. I mean, Quebec gave everything here. I was impressed with Suleiman, but Lewandowski, that was a tactical race almost for athletes of that calibre. He just outleans Quebec there. The winning time, fairly modest for men of this standard, 3:52, but the pacemaking was strange. 54 the first lap, 1:53 at 800 metres. The third lap was 61.4 up at the front end. I mean, a 54 and a 61, even with a lap in between them, is crazy. 3:52, fastest time in the world this year, and no Ingebrigtsen in the top 5.
So Emma Coburn, of course, world champion, surprised everybody when she won that title, and this her first big steeplechase of the year against Chessball, against Chepkoech. What can she do here? Ran almost a personal best 1500 metres a couple of weeks back, so she's come here, she said, I'm in really good form, I'm fit, I just don't know how I'm going to go over the barriers. And also Grovdal, the Norwegian, who's had injury problems, had a stress response in her hip, so she's been doing no training, not too much training, only been running 3 weeks, and said she only did some barrier work this week, actually. So Grovdal, who the crowd would have hoped could have run well here, I think won't really be a factor, but can Coburn give Chepkoech and Chessball and the others something to think about here? They've been asked, Tim, for a pretty swift pace, so they're already reasonably well stretched out. And do you remember what happened here last year when the barrier was at the wrong height?
Exactly right, yes I do. Unfortunately, invalidated performances on that particular night. Coburn in pretty good shape. She ran a fairly low-key 1500 metres a few weeks back, ran 4:05, so for her that's a very solid indeed. She's very much a specialist steeplechaser, Emma Coburn. There she is, up in what, about 6th, 7th place at the moment. Easily picked out in that green and white strip amidst all the Africans. But are they going to push this pace along at a very healthy pace indeed? Of course, conveniently 3 minutes we're looking for the first kilometre if it's going to be fast, as the first pacemaker, Tweegong, leads them home, leads them along in the second lap.
Chemutai took a bath there in the water jump, completely immersed, almost up to her neck, but has got herself back into this group pretty quickly. And then there's a pretty big gap to the rest of the field there. So Emma Coburn in there. Watch out for Nora Geruto as well. Really good performance in Railingen recently. Here's Lazet Skene though.
It is indeed Lazet Skene, and second attempt at 2:03, as you can see. Has cleared 2:01. The first attempt was close, and that one not so close. No. First attempt was very close indeed. That's unusual for her to not utilise the effort and get the most out of the opportunity. But she misjudges that one. I think takes off too close to the bar. Comes up through the bar, doesn't she? Maybe a slight misjudgment on the approach. It's millimetre perfect if they get it right. And back in this pole vault too. Oh, that's lovely. Guttormsen. No, it was nearly lovely. Third time clearance at 5:61 from him. Goes out at 5:71. But he is a big talent. He's Sondre Guttormsen. Here's that steeplechase again. Oh, and Chirono clipped from behind just as she reached that barrier. It was all too tightly packed.
Well, yes and no. I mean, down the back straight, she's only 17, and I think she just got herself, she was trying to move out of her position, and as you said, they really clattered it. She's got herself back up running again, as we've seen so many times in the women's steeplechase, but that will have taken an awful lot out of her. So Tweegong with Chepkoech right in there. Chepkemai is also there. Kieng is there. Emma Coburn at the back of that group. Geruto moving up as well in a good position. Chessball looking a little bit ragged at the moment. Just see there, Chessball really stuttering into that barrier. And they're just bunching up as the pacemaker doesn't just drop out, backs everybody up there. So as she stepped off, causing the others to really slow down. But the pacing was pretty good, despite all of the drama we've had with people dropping into the water jump, falling, and again there, Chepkamai just a little step across. So out in front then, Chepkoech where she likes to be. And at the moment, Emma Coburn just looks as though she's making this a little bit hard work. Early stages though.
Well, yes, Chepkoech beginning to take control of this one, isn't she? She's striding out strongly now. Pacemaking perfect, Steve, through the first kilometre. It was 2:59.99, more or less exactly 3 minutes through the first K. And there's not many athletes who can accelerate off that. Chepkoech might be one of the few. So, back to this pole vault. Wojciechowski, third and final attempt at 5:71 for the former world champion. The pole, big fella that he is, world champion back in 2011 in Daegu. Oh yeah, lovely. Well, he's making very hard work of it. He's cleared 5:51, 5:61 and 5:71 now at the third time of asking. But he stays in there and becomes the fifth athlete to go clear. So we are down to 5. Yamamoto, Guttormsen and Sen of France are all out. Sam Kendrick's perfect, along with Cole Walsh. They lead. But well, he jumped 5:81 in Bydgoszcz on Tuesday, so we know he's in pretty good shape, is Wojciechowski. Janika Ricketts then, fourth attempt, 14:38. She's lying in third place behind Orji Enibagwen. Very, very low trajectory. Doesn't really explode off the board, does she? She tries to keep that fluency from the approach through the board. She is, let me remind you, the world #1. Lots of flailing arms from Ricketts, but it's effective from the Jamaican. That's nice. It's neater from the front-on view than it is from the side. But that for Ricketts, well, a marginal improvement, 1 centimetre improvement, 1 centimetre to 14:39. She stays in third, though.
So they're coming down with just over 2 laps to go. Chepkoech still leading. Geruto, I said, would be a danger just on her shoulder. Emma Coburn tried to move past the others in that second pack and try to close on these two, but has now found Kiang has moved ahead of her. Second kilometre much slower, 3 minutes and 4. So they went through in 6:03, and we have a race on here. And look at Geruto, a big win in Germany. Looked good. She's been in good form. Can she cause an upset here? Chepkoech feeling her coming alongside and just eases away again down the back straight with around 650 metres left.
Yeah, Chepkoech, though, I just sense, Steve, is on her game tonight. She looks really, really strong, the world record holder. Skies that barrier, doesn't she? I mean, she's a tall athlete, so I suppose we've got to take that into account. She's much taller than Geruto in second place. But the hurdling technique is not economical, I think we can say that fairly. Has run 9:04 already this year. Good on the steeplechase barrier there. The world champion, Emma Coburn, just struggling to close that gap on that leading pair.
Yeah, she's going well, though, running well, I think, for her first steeplechase of the year. So it's Chepkoech at the moment in the lead, hurdling much better than Geruto, particularly through that water jump, and that's how Coburn got a big advantage over Kiang, who again lost 5 metres in the water jump. They take the bell, 7:53, 7:54, thereabouts. So it'll be a good low 9-minute performance from Chepkoech. Emma Coburn probably heading for something more like 9:10 thereabouts. But it's not over yet. Geruto still hanging in there, but a hurdle technique surely will let her down when it comes to sprint. Let's see. Down the back straight, Chepkoech moves into another gear, just gets another metre or two. Knows the danger could be there if she just falters. Geruto still within 5 metres. Kiang has gone past Coburn, trying to hang on for that third spot towards the water jump. Now let's see. Chepkoech tends to take this better than Geruto, extends into it. The two of them pretty similar, though. Geruto's still within striking distance here. Chepkoech hasn't got this one. One more barrier to go. Geruto trying to find something. A little stutter from Chepkoech. Geruto's over. Now the sprint starts. Chepkoech has not got enough to hold her off, or has she? No. Geruto comes in for the victory. 9:03. Kieng will take third place. Coburn under 9:10 in fourth. Good performance from the American. And then lots of athletes chasing home after that for pretty solid times. Well, Chepkoech getting beat there. There's lots of them. Krauser, I think, running a pretty decent round about 9:20 ahead of Mishmas. Rosie Clark of Great Britain just crossing the line there as well, a little further down. I was just checking where Grovdal was, under 8:30 for her. But at the front, I said, Tim, you know, when athletes are coming on, Geruto won in railing in 9:12, but I was just watching a clip of that, and she was really dominant that day. And when you got a pacemaker like Chepkoech, you couldn't find a better one, could you? You just got to hang in there.
No, that's exactly right. And Chepkoech hasn't got that surge, that ability to change pace down the home straight. She's a strong runner, and I think she needed to have worked harder from the bell onwards down the back straight. Didn't really maximise the opportunity. But that said, Geruto looked very, very full of running, didn't she? Bouncy through that last 50, and is a very, very worthy winner indeed.
Well, men underway in the 800 metres. And the two Puerto Ricans, you can see Sanchez there with the flowing locks behind him. Arroyo, who tends to run all his best races, not in the US, he's US based, both wearing their national colours. And Tuai has gone to the front in the pacemaking duties. He's gone pretty quick through that first 200, under 25 seconds. So it is going to be fairly quick. As I said, he was asked for 50.5. I think we're both wondering, will he keep going? Because his current form, Tuai, he won in Hengelo, he won in Turku, and he's been running very well this year. So Tuai leading, the two Puerto Ricans second and third, and then Kramer fourth.
You know it's quick, Steve, when they're in single file going around the second bend, and Tuai leads through now in 50.72. Good pacemaking, but will he keep going? He's used to this sort of tempo, but usually with somebody in front of him. Just the two Puerto Ricans in second and third, and all of them strung out behind him. But what will he do now? Big question mark. Does he step aside, or does he keep going?
I think he should keep going, and he will keep going, because he's not under any pressure yet. But Sanchez will be enjoying this, because Sanchez normally is the one who likes to get out there in front. Look at Kramer. He's yet to break 1:45. I think he's ready to do it. He was close last year. He had a good season opener, Kramer, and he's not too far away, just trying to move into third spot. But Tuai's hanging on out in front there. Sanchez trying to get closer. Kramer now moving into third place. Rod is getting closer as well. But it's Tuai, the man who's given pacemaking duties, out in front. Here comes Sanchez and Kramer and Rod and Rosmus all finishing quickly, but Sanchez is just going to have enough. Sanchez comes away. He gets the victory. Tuai hangs on for second place. 1:46.35, the winning time. Well, it wasn't quite a Tom Byers, but it almost was. He did the pacemaking duties, he paid for that. I think, Tim, if he hadn't been asked to do that, he probably was capable of winning this race. But hats off to Sanchez. That's a great reversal for him after having been run down in the home straight in Stockholm. He does the opposite here.
That's exactly what Tuai didn't want, not just getting beaten, but acting as a pacemaker for 700 metres for somebody else. But it's what he did for younger Sanchez, just 20 years old. He is a massive talent. I thought he actually looked better in Stockholm a couple of weeks back than he did tonight. He looked more fluid. He had to really work for this one, although he doesn't look too strained there, does he? Easing past the Kenyan former. Well, they've asked for 59 seconds at 400. Well, if they get the pacemaking right here, we could see a sub-2-minute clocking, that men's race. I just think at this stage of the season, with most athletes trying to hold back a little bit, put the brakes on, maybe not having raced very much, 50.7 was a little bit too swift for the first 400. This looks a little bit more steady. Yarigo easing to the front there for Benin. Winner in Osaka, pacemaker in Stockholm a couple of weeks back, but it's not particularly quick, is it? Look at that bunching, almost four across there in the middle of the pack. That's dangerous, and they come round through 300 in what, about 43, 44 seconds. So maybe she's going to get right. 59 seconds is fairly modest for a field of this calibre, and if that's the pacemaker at the front, Steve, then obviously most of them are going to go through in outside 60 seconds under normal circumstances.
Well, I don't think there is a designated pacemaker here, but they've all gone through. Now, Sharp has been spiked, has gone down, got a clip there. I was just about to say, Tim, they're all too bunched, even at this pace. A big field, completely split, 2 or 3 off the back, and Lindsay Sharp stepped off.
That was my fear as they went round the second bend on the first lap. We thought they were 3 or 4 across, and it was looking far too slow and cosy. Lintz now at the front there. Lovisa Lind, the European Championship bronze medalist back in Amsterdam 2016. But has she got the legs? Buchel moving up round the outside. And I think that's Nakai too, who hits the front now with Buchel in her slipstream. Nakai kicking very hard, 150 metres to run round the crown of the bend. Passes the water jump there, and now very different setup to the first time they came past this stage. Single file, Nakai from Buchel, from Aikens. That accentuated pumping arm action from the little Ugandan. She's a 1:58 performer, hasn't broken 2 minutes this year. I don't think she's going to do it here tonight off that 59.4 first lap, but it doesn't matter. She's the best by 2 metres. And that is a very, very satisfying win indeed. Well judged at the beating of that field. 8 athletes in that field, by the way, had broken 2 minutes, so it wasn't a bad race. But slow progress this year over 2 laps for the ladies. Only 6 women have got under 2 minutes so far in 2018. Nakai there finding almost 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Good enough for the win in Oslo. There, look, you see Lindsay Sharp gets clipped from behind. Oh, that was really awkward. There was so much pushing and shoving there as they came through the bell. What a shame.
Well, I have to say, this might not get too many headlines in tomorrow's newspapers or remembered too much by the end of the season. It was an untidy race. I think many athletes will look at this and think that was an opportunity. Only Nakai really can hold the